Okay, so welcome to the stream today as we continue with our masterclass discussions for the examination, looking at the key verbs that the chief examiner is using and also providing with some strategies on how you can really prepare well for the examination and most importantly, pass the exam. Yesterday we started with a discussion looking at the various issues that you must understand and some of the concerns that the chief examiner has raised over a number of the papers. Give me a sec. And also shared with you some of the verbs that a chief examiner is going to be using in the exam hall and what these verbs mean and what you need to do when you are reading the questions generally. And so we are going to be providing some answers into some of these things and going through some of these to help you to really pass the examination. I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome. You can leave with any questions you have in the comment section or the chat box. And also remember to share the video. Let's get to many people as possible who will be needing this video as they prepare for the examination. And so in the previous video, in case you missed yesterday's video, you can check the description of this video and the link is going to be there. I think that is the second or the third link below this video on YouTube, and you'll be able to watch the part one of this video and prepare well as we go. So we discussed the various verbs: analyze, apply, assess, calculate, comment, compare. Then we came to conclusion, criticize, define, describe. We ended on discuss. And so what we want to take on is to look at the other verbs that the examiner is going to be using and also share our thoughts on some of the few things that you need to be mindful of. So the next verb is evaluate. Evaluate. What does that mean? Evaluate means to determine the scenario in the light of the argument for and against. The key tips here is to mention evidence or case or point or issue to support evaluation. So evaluation is sort of in the same world like analyze, like assess, okay? That's in the same word, just like evaluation. So to evaluate, you are looking at the scenario before you, and based on what is before you, the scenario that is before you, you are going to be providing an understanding in relation to what is happening in the scenario. And you are going to be doing an evaluation to support or mention against. And so just like how you're going to be doing an analysis, you're going to be doing a discussion, evaluation is also in that same realm in the discussion. Then the next one is explain. Explain. Now, if you remember in the part one, we mentioned that describe, discuss, explain also look like they belong in the same world, but we saw the distinction between describe and discuss. Now, explain means that to make an idea clear. In other words, show logically how its concept is developed. Give reason for an event. Key tips: don't provide a list of points. Add in some explanation of the point you are discussing. And so here, what we are going to be having is you are explaining something. So explain the role of the International Accounting Standard Board on sustainability. Explain the actions that the International Accounting Standard Board has taken on sustainability. Explain how governments can control public expenditure. Explain the various roles that government plays in ensuring that value for money is achieved. So explain means you write a point and then you describe what is going on. So you don't just list the point up. Now, explain also does not mean you write a simple sentence. So, for instance, let's say that we say, okay, what are the roles or what actions has the International Accounting Standard Board taken on sustainability or in addressing issues about sustainability. Now, one of the actions that it has taken is the collaboration with regulatory authorities to issue standards. Okay. The question said explain. What you are writing is listing. What you are writing, what I just did is stating. So the question said explain. So you got to give us an idea about what the heck this thing means, because it says explain. So after this, you got to go a point and explain. So that is why in explanation, you list the point and then you provide a brief explanation on what is happening, because the question said explain. So I cannot write this point and walk away and think, oh, the examiner should clap for me. No. The examiner cannot clap for you for that miserable thing you've done, because this point here is list, state, enumerate. So if the question is list, state, enumerate, then that's fine. But if the question said explain, then I can't write this and boom, just walk away in that particular case. And that is what you must understand when it comes to the verb explain. Explain. Then you come to the next one, which is illustrate. Illustrate. Illustrate means to give concrete examples. Explain clearly by using comparison or examples. Add some description. Illustrate. So illustration is like describing. It's like discussing, right? So you have to provide a deeper level of understanding to the examiner. So illustrate works in the same environment as describe and discuss, because you need to be able to paint that clear picture to the examiner to understand what you are trying to talk about. And sometimes you will see this thing coming in there in that regard. The next one is interpret. Interpret means that you are commenting on something, giving an example, describing relationship. It means you explain and evaluate something. Interpretation of financial statement, interpretation of the performance of the entity. So interpreting something will mean you are evaluating it, you are assessing it. So again, this also is another world where we are going to be using analyze, the principle under analysis, the principle under assessing, the principle under even evaluating at the end of the day. And that is what interpretation does. So something is presented to you, interpret it to us. That's the idea about that. So you are preparing, you've calculated some ratios, right? Then a follow-up question will say, interpret the ratios that have been computed. All right. And again, I keep on telling you, ratios are important in public sector, in management accounting, in strategic case study, in corporate reporting, in financial reporting. So interpret the ratios. You cannot just get up and say, oh, like we discussed in the part 1 and I illustrated that to you. Oh, the ratio has reduced. What does it mean? Interpret, discuss, tell us further what exactly you are talking about at the end of the day. And so you have to give reasons for what you are seeing there. And then you have to also be able to provide us with the implication of what is happening on the financials of the entity. And that is what interpretation does. List. That's your world. But you got to be careful, because here, all you are doing is to List the several ideas. Here you are not discussing, just make a list. But this is something you must understand. When the question says list, you have to write your answer in a simple sentence. So the answer must be in a simple sentence. In a simple sentence. Very important. Very important. And so you cannot write a point that is not a sentence. So for instance, again, let's say we are in public sector and then the examiner asks you, okay, for instance, let's bring up a question. What question can we even bring up? Let's say that there is a question that says, okay, explain or list the advantages of the accrual basis. Okay, so advantages of the accrual basis. Then you are like, let's say how are you supposed to write this out? List, right? It's in line or it aligns, let me put it that way, with the matching principle. That's what we mean. Simple sentence. Simple sentence. Then we can also say that it enhances the faithful representation of the financial statement. List. So you don't write raw and walk away. You must write your answers in a simple sentence. This is very important. You must write your answers in a simple sentence. That's very important today in that regard. So that is the next verb that you need to know about. List. Yes, just write out the point, but write your point in a simple sentence. And amazingly, some people don't even know the difference between sentence, phrases, clause, and they just write. And so sometimes people, the question has stated as state, then they are writing clauses that are not, I can't even understand. So you got to make sure that, yes, although the question said list, you must make sure you are writing the point in a simple sentence. The reason why it has to be a simple sentence is because you are not explaining. But when the point is read, it must be self-explanatory. That's why you cannot write a phrase. You cannot write a clause. It must be a simple sentence so that when it's read, we cannot come and ask you, oh, by the way, what the heck are you talking about? And you know the chief examiner doesn't, as people marking the scripts, they're not going to come to your house and ask you, oh, Eja, what the heck did you mean? No, it's not going to happen. You know that, right? So you want to make sure that, yes, the question says list, but your answer must be a simple sentence. And you did grammar in KG2. So you should know what a simple sentence is. You should know. Yo. Next one, outline. Outline. Outline means describe main ideas, characteristics. Key tip here is briefly explain the highlighted point. So outline is not the same as list. Now, so outline is the baby of discuss, explain, and those things. So outline, you got to briefly explain what is going on. Just briefly. Just briefly. Outline. Then recommend. Recommend means you're going to be advising or advise the appropriate actions to pursue in terms of the recipient, in terms the recipients understand. Give advice or counsel. So Here also, there will be scenario that the examiner will be presented to you. Then we say, recommend how the above transaction will be treated in the financial statement. Okay, so be mindful here. If you are going to be advising somebody, it means you must communicate your thoughts clearly, isn't it? So you have to state the basis for the advice. So let's say it's financial reporting or corporate reporting or whatever, advanced taxation or principal taxation. It says, recommend how the above will be treated for tax purposes. Or recommend how this one will be treated in the financial statement. Then you have to come up and say that, all right, the the standard or the above transaction can be accounted for or should be accounted for using IAS whatever, IFRS whatever. And as per the standard, these are da. Then based on that, the above transaction, this is what we do, this is what we do. That is what we mean by recommend. So you are advising people, you are telling people what you think will be appropriate in a particular scenario. Hence, you must explain the rationale behind the decision that must be made in that regard. Next is relate. Relate. Now, usually the verb recommend, you're going to be seeing it more in the level 3. Okay, level 3, because, I mean, in level 3, your brain has developed better, and so the chief examiners will want to get the best out of you from there. The next one is relate. Relate is level 2 and level 3 stuff. It means show the connections between ideas, events. The key tips here is to relate the real-time examples. Next, state. State. The actual meaning is for you to explain precisely. In other words, focus on the exact point. Explain precisely. Now, there is this issue with students. And sometimes I've had this even with my students several times, even this particular diet for the March 2025 examination. Somebody will write something, then I'll say it's wrong, or that's not what you're supposed to do. And the person say, oh, but the question said you should state. So they just write a phrase, not even a phrase, maybe a word. Then they say, the question said state. There be. State means you should explain precisely. So in other words, again, it has to be a simple sentence which is self-explanatory. State is different from explaining. Explaining means write a point and then give us a description of what it is. But state means you got to briefly provide something about what the heck you're talking about. So you explain precisely. So for all those of you, when you hear, state 2 factors that must be considered before we adopt an accounting standard, then you write the laws. Then you write management judgment. Why? Oh, the question said you should state. That is a recipe for a disaster. That's a recipe for a disaster. So state doesn't mean write a word down. State doesn't mean write a phrase and walk away. State means explain precisely the key point. In other words, your answer must be in a simple sentence that is understood. I hope you are seeing the difference here, because a lot of you fall into that category where you hear state, then you're writing words down. You're writing phrases down. And you're like, oh, they just said state. No. You explain precisely. That is what the examiner is expecting you to do. Summarize. I mean, you understand summarize. It means give a brief, condensed account of something. It's rare to see this kind of word, though, but it's there in that regard. But that's the next one you need to understand, to summarize. Okay, so it means bonotofa. It means in conclusion. It means on the overall, what the heck is talking about. So give a brief, condensed account and include a conclusion on what has to be done in that regard. Don't give detail. Specifically, how do you summarize? And you did summary in school, right? You did summary in KG2. So you know what it means to summarize what the heck that is supposed to be done in that particular case. And these are the things that we must understand about some of the verbs that a chief examiner is going to be using in the exam hall and what you are expected to do. So if you look at that carefully, you will realize that, for instance, if we take the public sector accounting and finance, let me bring that up real quick. So let's take public sector that we went through yesterday. You will see it says, explain events after the reporting date in line with IPSAS 14. What did he say? Explain events after the reporting period. Now, I want you to be mindful, that's question 1C, of the way the answer is written here. Again, this is a marking scheme, though, but it gives you an idea. So he says, events after the report are those events which two types of events can be classified: adjusting events, non-adjusting events, Explain. Then, let me show you another one. You could see explain also here. You could see state here. You could see explain here. So these are common. Explain. You could see recommend. Recommend, explain. So these are common words that or verbs that a chief examiner is going to be using on you. Then he says, write a report to the board analyzing and indicating whether their performance is better in comparison with the old board. So in an analysis like this, you got to be careful. You are analyzing what is happening, but you got to include in your analysis how this board is better than the old board or otherwise. Because that is the context of the question. There are two things here. And many a times people missed that some questions have two requirements. So you are analyzing and also trying to assess whether the current board or the previous board, which one is the best or which one performs well. Then explain 3 limitations of ratio analysis. Now, how many marks is there? 3. But what verb did the examiner use? Explain. Explain. Now, what did we say explain means? We said explain means make something clear and then don't just provide a list of points, add in some explanation of the point you are discussing. So these are the common verbs. And what, if you come to financial reporting, so for instance, maybe let's see this and see what we have there. Question 4. Sorry if you feel dizzy. In that case, so you see your analysis, writing the report, pro forma coming in that regard, and then like the comparison issue that we mentioned there in that case. You come to management accounting, you see in the terms, explain. You see in the terms, compute, advise. You see in the terms, explain. So we have to be mindful of these verbs and what they mean generally in that regard. I'm seeing some comments coming in. Let's see if I can look at them real quick. What are the exceptions to a new student with accounting background? I don't know what the heck is that. What do you mean by exceptions to a new student with, I don't understand. I don't understand what the heck you're talking about. Maybe you can give me an explanation of what you're saying. I mean, to new students to ICA. I don't understand the context of your question. If you're a new student of ICA, you have to register with ICA. Depending on your level of education, you may get some exemptions in that regard. And the exemptions to be given depends on your level of education. If you have a degree in accounting, then you'll be exempted from level 1 and a paper or 2 in level 2. Then you can start from level 2 and write at level 3. If you're coming in with MBA accounting, then you'll be exempted from level 1 and a couple of papers in level 2 for you to write public sector accounting and finance and maybe management accounting, depending on what you did in your transcript. So that's it. I don't get a context of your question, but if that is what you are asking, then that's what you need to know about in that particular case. Then I think Jefta, it's giving you something there. So you register with the ICA, apply for exemption with your transcript, and that will determine what you will be exempted from. Yeah, basically that is it in that regard. So if you're talking about exemptions, right? Because your word was exceptions, right? So if you're talking about exemptions, then it depends on your level of education. As I mentioned, first degree, you get some exemptions, level 1 and 2 papers in level 2. Masters, you get some exemptions as well in that case. But if you are not coming in with any accounting certificate, then you're going to still start from level 1, no matter what certificate you are coming in with, whether it's MBA or MSc or whatever the heck, and there's no accounting background, then you will start from level 1 in that regard. And so these are the verbs that we have to be aware of and how we will write out our answers generally in respect of whichever verb the examiner throws at us in the exam hall that we need to understand. And so now, some key strategies, right, that I will provide you with to help you for the next few weeks. As we mentioned, we have like 5 more weeks to go for the examination. Your exam is going to be starting on 3rd of March, 2025. Registration is ending on 14th of February. It's Friday, 2025. So as you are celebrating or preparing to take your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your wife or your husband out, and you're writing the exam as well, got to be preparing. 14th of February, registration has closed in that regard. So what key strategies must you adopt to, put you in the position to pass the examination? The first thing that I will talk to you about is your mindset. Because the way a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So my question to you is, what is your mindset about the ICA examination? What is your mindset about the exam that you are going to write? What is your mindset about the whole ICAG professional qualification program? If you come in and you think that, the ICA is difficult, no matter what you do, you're going to fail, then you're going to fail. Hey, I know somebody, she has been writing the ICA, hey, when can I also chatter? This thing is difficult, too. Then it will be difficult for you. Because I tell you this, don't make your ICA decisions looking at the behavior of some unserious people. And I'm saying that consciously. Because when people come and they are like, Well, no matter what you do in the ICA, you're going to fail the examination. I'm like, what are you drinking? Because there are people who go into the exam or write the exam, boom, they pass and they go. The reason some people continuously fail the exam, it's because of many factors, which I discussed some with you yesterday. Ill preparedness for the examination, not studying consistently, because some of you are still waiting. 1 week to the exam, you're going to take leave. Some of you are preparing to write strategic case study. You've not been studying. You are waiting for the pre-scene to be released. When the pre-scene is released, that is where you are going to be looking for analysis of pre-scene. From Kukua, from Ohima, from Adepa, from Antoinette, from this, from that. And then you will come and sit down. You are reading analysis. Nobody cares about your analysis. There's some of you, you think, oh, Charlie, the thing there, if you are learning every day, it doesn't stick. Oh, media, I'm good person. It is when the exam is getting closer, that is the time that I can study. Hey, media, that is how I am. Oh. Let me tell you the reality. That is absolute out of mind. So if you have such mindsets, I can guarantee you, you're going to go fail the examination. You will fail. But if you're going to have a positive mindset where you understand that, all right, I need to study as a student. I need to do assignments as a student. I need to be involved and attend lectures. I need to make sure that I solve questions on my own. I need to make sure that I work on my speed and accuracy. Because if I do all these, by the grace of God, I can go to the exam or write the exam with confidence and most importantly, pass the examination. Then you will succeed. But if your mindset is vibes and inshallah, your mindset is, I am waiting. I'm going to take a leave. And when I take the leave, that is what I'm going to do. May I suggest to you, you're going to fail the exam. So the first core strategy on how you can pass the examination is having the right mindset. And please, don't listen to people who are not going anywhere on this ICAG journey. Don't let somebody to advise you shrewdly for their incompetence or their inability to take their life to the next level. You need to come to terms with yourself and tell yourself, I can do this. Because, yeah, people fail the exam, but people equally pass. Why are you not looking at the positive side and you're looking at the negative side of the discussion? Why? So please, this is where it starts. This is where it ends. You want to make sure you have the right mindset. And the right mindset is you're going to make time to study. The right mindset is you're going to do assignments. The right mindset is you're going to attend lectures. The right mindset is you're going to work on speed and accuracies. The right mindset is to understand that you have to work hard if you want to pass this examination. That is the right mindset. If not, you're going to fail the exam. Because you see, nobody cares about your excuses. If you're a follower of my work, I say this a lot. Nobody cares about your excuses. I can empathize with you. Oh, you are a busy person. You have 17 children. Your husband demands that you cook every day for him. You drive 3 hours from home to work and from work to the house. Yeah, you have to wake up 4 a.m. every day and leave home. Otherwise, you won't reach work early. I can empathize with you on that level of stress. But that empathy will not cause you to pass the exam. That empathy cannot improve your life because nobody cares about that. And so you must have the positive mindset that, all right, these are the things I have to do as an individual. But I want to pass this exam. I want to do it in record time. Boom, I got to put myself in the position to pass the examination. Number 2 is you want to find out what is your learning or study style. This is very important because many people have various reactions about subjects. There are people who are like, oh, I'm not comfortable with reading subjects. I don't know, but I don't like reading subjects. I'm like, bro, you don't like reading subjects, but what the heck do you like? So you need to find your study style that works best for you. And there are various learning styles available. Sometimes you got to read and write. Now, listen. Your passion, nobody cares about it. What you love or what you don't love, nobody cares about it. The question is, do you want to become successful? The question is, do you want to become a chartered accountant? The question is, do you want to take your life to the next level? If you answered yes to all these questions, then forget about what you love or what you don't love and adopt a study style that will work best in your interest to help you to pass the examination. So find your study style. Yes, learning is boring, but you gotta find your study style. What works best for you? Find it. Is it that you will read and write? Is it that you will record your voice, right, and play it back? Is it that you watch something being done or listen to something being done and it sticks? Or what? You can use flashcards. And one thing that I tell people is that there are various things going on, and so you must have your study style. And that is linked with the third issue, which is identifying your peak time as an individual. You see, it is not about what you are studying. It's about what time are you studying it? If you are tired, you left home in the morning, you've worked all day, stuck in traffic, got home 9 p.m. You got home 9 p.m., you buy banku and tilapia, or you eat banku and okra stew. You finish eating, you go and bath, then you sit on your bed, then you said, I'm learning. Like, what are you smoking? That ain't your peak time. You're just wasting time there. So you sit on your bed, then you pick a book, then you say that you are learning. And every time you wake up and the book is on you or the book has fallen off, it's on the floor. So you need to identify your peak time. Your peak time is the time where you are of your best. So your brain is at its optimum. Very important. Meaning no stress. Listen, you cannot be thinking about your light bill, your water bill, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, and all those negative emotions and steady. No. Now, there is a way you can work this out to become the best. You see, emotions plus information equals long-term memory. And this is from my brain coach, Jim Quick. Emotion plus information equals long-term memory. So how can you harness your emotion to be able to optimize yourself so you steady? And this will be based on the reason why you are doing what you are doing. Because for some of you, there is no compelling reason, so you find excuses to do what you are doing. So why do you even want to chatter? Why are you after this whole qualification? Why? You must find a reason that is compelling. And so that reason now forces you to bring your brain up to speed all the time. Because listen, life is going to hit you every now and then. So this optimum brain, you must create it. It's not like, you wake up in the morning, early in the morning, hey, that is the time you can study. There are sometimes you wake up early in the morning and the things you are thinking about, your brain is not right to pick any book to study. Because maybe you are suffering broken heart. Your girlfriend just left you. Or your boyfriend just left you. Or your landlord is just on your neck. Or your job, they are about to sack you. or you are thinking about something. So you wake up early in the morning and your brain is like, bro, we got to fix this thing. In that moment, when you pick a book to study, nothing will stick. Why? Because your brain is not at its optimum. So you need to reach the point where you take out all the noise. That's the thing you must understand. And you have to find that emotions or some emotion and connect it with what you are learning so you become successful. You know, life is such an amazing thing, right? So let's say, for instance, your girlfriend dump you or your boyfriend leaves you, right? Somebody can have a reason that I will become successful so this girl regrets ever leaving me. And that emotion forces people to go to work mood and they become successful like crazy. That is their fuel. That is their fuel. Or I need to pass this exam. I need to become chartered accountant because I can't stand people bypassing me going and getting promotion. So you sit down. Then one small little girl has chatted. And now the person is your boss. And you are doing all the work. And she just sit there and look at you and ask you questions. You are angry. We are saying, look at this girl. God. I've worked for this company, sir. I've worked for this company, sir. You people cannot promote me. Look at this small little girl. Came in because she started. Yeah. So you use that fuel and say, I'm tired. I also have to be promoted. I'm tired. I also have to become successful. And that fuel can stir your brain to be optimum at every time you invoke that emotion, so you study and it will stick. Because I tell my students all the time, your brain doesn't know you are learning. Your brain doesn't know what is going on. That is why at every time there are gazillion number of thoughts crossing your brain. But you have to tell your brain what to focus on, how it to focus on. And the way you do that is to invoke emotions that helps control your brain. So, how do you get an optimum brain? Why are you doing this? Number one. Number two, it's going to be beyond the reason is stress management. Very important. Please sleep well. Please eat well. Because what you eat adds up to your stress. Very important. And so your peak time could also be influenced by your stress. So sometimes you will say, oh, okay, my optimum time is learning in the dawn. Okay, good. But you wake up and you still feel body pains all over. You can't even get up from the bed. That's stress. That's tiredness. So you need to learn to manage stress. Important. Because one of the reasons why many people don't become successful in the manner that they are expected to become successful is because they are going through a lot of stress. A lot of stress. And it's all because of the decisions that many people have made. And I use this example, for instance, in a video that I did some time ago in that regard. For instance, that somebody say, I won't make any landlord rich. Paying rent is making a landlord rich. One of the dumbest things I hear people talking about. Paying rent is making a landlord rich. So they go and rent cheaper somewhere so that they can pay whatever the heck. Let's say 400 Ghana cedi per month. Now, that location they are at and their workplace, they have to now wake up 4 a.m. every morning and prepare themselves, do everything. By 5 a.m., they have to leave home and they will be in traffic for 2.5 hours. So you are spending like 3 hours, 2.5, or 3 hours, so between 2 to 3 hours in traffic every morning to get to work. When they close from work, the same thing. They're going to stuck in traffic coming back home, and they're going to spend close to the same amount of time, 2 or 3 hours. Listen, if you don't take care, you will die before your time. This is too much stress that you are going through. Because just sitting down there, not doing anything, and you are in traffic, the engines that are on, because you are in throttle, or even if you are driving your car, I don't know why people would drive and will not put on air condition. Then they will have their glasses down. Then they are in traffic. Then the fume entering you. That is affecting your health. By the time you get home, you are stressed out. You are tired. Your wife touches you, fine. Your husband touches you, fine. You can't play with your children. You can't do anything. So just one single decision. I don't want to make any landlord rich. You go and live somewhere, and now you are spending 5-6 hours every day just commuting. That's too much stress. When you could have rented somewhere closer to your place of work, where maybe you will pay twice this amount, probably, give and take. Or let's say you pay $700 a month. Just let's be conservative a little bit. $700 per month. And that will allow you just to spend maybe 30 minutes in traffic. Which of these two options should you go for? The second option. Why? Because there is less stress. Why? You become more successful. Why? You can have quality time with your children. You can spend quality time with your spouse. You can become a better version of yourself mentally and emotionally. But people are piling stress on themselves because they think they are wise. And these are some of the reasons why people have a lot of stress on them. It's not just the work they are doing, it's the commuting that is putting stress on them. Their main job is not stressful, but the commuting part makes everything else stressful. And that decision is now affecting your mental capacity to be able to study, understand what you are studying, and take your life to the next level. I am not asking you to go and rent an expensive place. I'm only telling you that as part of your optimum operation, as part of your ability to become successful, you got to manage stress. And one of the ways you manage stress keenly is to reduce how much time you spend commuting. Sit down and do the calculation. Don't let anybody lie to you that, paying rent to make the landlord rich. That's absolute foolishness. So the fuel you buy every day, are you making the fuel station rich? Are you making the fuel station owner rich? The food you buy every day, are you making the food vendor rich? The clothing you are wearing, are you making the people doing the clothing rich? Okay, so why not manufacture your own clothes? Why not refine your own fuel? It's a mindset thing. It's a happiness thing. It's an optimum life thing. And you got to control your stress so that you can have a peak time and have an optimum brain so you can study. Because some of you, by the time you get home, you are zombie. There is nothing you can do. Weekends, you are washing. Because they say, Saturday is for washing. I don't know who came up with that as well. You are washing. Then people will sit down and spend 5 hours, 6 hours washing. Again, I'm not asking you not to do what you're supposed to do. But you can't spend your life doing things like this and still become successful. It's not possible. What are the options available? Take your things take majority of your things to the laundry. It's expensive taking your things to the laundry. Yeah, so you will always be poor. You will always be stressful. You cannot take your life to the next level. You got to think differently about how this game is played. Get a washing machine. That way, instead of 5-6 hours of washing, you can do it in maybe an hour. Or get someone else a help to help you do the laundry at home. So instead of the 5-6 hours, you can use 2 hours or 1 hour to do it. The rest of the time has been saved to relax, to study, to work on yourself and become a better version of yourself. All these things are about stress management, and it's about your lifestyle. Stress management is simply about reducing the things that you do as an individual, so you use your limited strength and limited resources on the things that truly matter. How can you be spending 6 hours, 5 hours to wash every day and still be successful? By the time you realize you have spinal diseases, your spinal cord is off because you sit down, you are porcine. You sit down, then you are doing, when in reality, you could get a washing machine. Oh, washing machine, if you use the washing machine to wash, it doesn't wash the tin well. Really? Poverty has made people come up with a lot of dumb excuses. All I'm saying is this. Listen, you have to manage your stress. And the stress management is about lifestyle. It's about lifestyle. So the things that take significant portions of your time, try to get them outsourced. Try to reduce the time used on these things, and you will become successful. So your mindset about the exam is very critical. Know your study style. That is very important. Identify your peak time. Very important. I cannot overemphasize the importance of that. Identify your peak time and study during that time, because that is going to play a key role in your ability to be able to become successful as an individual. Number 4, strategy that I'm going to be leaving you with to position you to pass the examination is to familiarize yourself with the exam. This means know the syllabus. Know what is in the syllabus. Very important. Know what is in the syllabus. Know the structure of the examination. What are the topics the examiner is going to be bringing? What is the scope of the exam that the examiner is going to be looking at? Familiarize yourself with the exam. And then number 5 is going to be this big word, practice. Put yourself in simulations where you are controlling your emotions. So solve questions under time. Very important. Okay? Solve questions under time. Get a mentor to guide you. If you're attending lectures, make sure that you are being guided, you are being directed. For instance, in our community, that's what we do here. You're going to do assignments. I'm going to get the script. I'm going to project it on the screen like this, and I'm going to screw you. And make sure that you are doing the right thing. Because you see, that is how you pass the examination. So if you can work on your mindset, identify a study style that works best for you as an individual generally, and put yourself in the position where you know your peak time, familiarize yourself with the examination, and practice questions, not ICAG past questions alone, but questions outside the past questions. I can guarantee you will definitely pass the examination. So these are 5 key strategies that I think you have to adopt. If there's anything keenly that I want you to take away here, it'll be everything that I've told you. Your mindset is key. Your learning style is important. Your peak time is very important. Remove the stress in your life. Remove it. It's not prayer, fasting, and drinking anointing oil. Apply wisdom to your life and take away all the stress around you. Familiarize yourself with the examination. Practice, practice, practice. If you do this, I can guarantee you will put yourself in the position to go into the exam hall, write the exam with confidence, and most importantly, pass the examination. Thanks for watching. I will catch you same time tomorrow, 5 p.m., as we continue with our discussion.